Wrestling POV content may not be suitable to some audiences. Your discretion is advised. Wrestling POV content may not be suitable to some audiences. Your discretion is advised. Wrestling POV's content may not be suitable to modern audiences. Your discretion is advised. Wrestling POV's content may not be suitable to modern audiences. Your discretion is advised. Wrestling POV's content may not be suitable to some audiences. Your discretion is advised. Wrestling POV's content may not be suitable to some audiences. Your discretion is advised.
It should be fanfare, folks. Oh, we should be opening today's episode with tons of trumpets and tons of triumphant return sounds because you know what, Elio? It's WPOV Global, and I have transversed the mountains. I have dug through the seas. I've traveled 9 hours, got 5 minutes rest to jump on the computer so we could sit here and talk. We could talk wrestling.
Awesome.
I'm your host.
Awesome.
The legend, TJ Logan. With me, my co-host, the gentleman himself, Elio Canella. Elio, say hi to the fine people.
How is it going, fans?
Well, you know what? It's been, like I just said, I know for our fans in America who are trying to wonder exactly how far I've gone for this journey, I have traveled today 9.5 hours.
9.5 hours.
By car. Traveling at 100, I guess that would be like 60 miles an hour. So imagine that, wherever you live, imagine driving 60 miles an hour for 9.5 hours straight.
That's equal to a flight from Toronto to Italy.
Well, I wouldn't say, I'm not going to brag that far, but anyways, I went in Canada, in Canadian terms, I went one province over. In U.S. terms, I went probably 2 or 3 states. So this was a heck of a journey, having to go through mountains. And I'm literally, when you're driving on the Trans-Canada Highway, and no, that's not a sexual thing. The Trans-Canada Highway is a highway that goes from one side of Canada to the other.
Actually, my brother's driven across there.
That is awesome.
He's been all across Canada.
That is cool. I've only made it halfway across. Okay, now this Trans-Canada, when you get into British Columbia, when you're on the Trans-Canada, you literally have to go through mountains. There's parts where there's tunnels where they've excavated, and you go through the mountain.
Oh, wow.
And out the other side. So yes, this was a heck of a journey, and I was getting late, and I was starting to get worried. This is probably the latest me and Elio have ever done a show together. It's pretty late, and first of all, I want to apologize, Elio. Thanks for having the patience for me today.
You're welcome.
And you know what? I had the week off, which means I got to see a ton of wrestling.
Wow.
Now,
when you say a ton, what are you talking about? All NJPW or mixed it up?
I mean, no. I guess there was a lot of NJPW stuff. I also watched Impact. Yeah, I actually watched all of Impact this week.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Man, Elio, how do you not go insane?
That was terrible.
We'll get to that. Watched all of ROH. I watched MLW, and I watched NXT UK. And I did not watch them the night before we're supposed to report about them. I watched them all spread out during the week. Got to digest, ingest, congest, whatever kind of jest there is. And in jest, we're going to talk about what we saw today. And by the powers of Alanis Morissette, it's the only way that I survived this whole journey. And, she blesses us from above and below. Elio, how was your week, brother?
My week was pretty great. My week was great.
Awesome. That is good to hear. What was the highlight of your week, man?
Let's see. It was just like a mixture of everything. All combined. Mm-hmm. Except that today was like kind of gloomy here, so that kind of brought things down a bit, but this brought it back up.
Okay. Well, you know what?
Doing the podcast brought it back up.
That is awesome. You know, Elio, last week, and the good folks, our good editor over at POV, at the central camp. What do you call it? Headquarters? I haven't even been there. You've been
WPOV headquarters.
Yeah. I don't even know where it is.
I told them I've been there. They don't even know where it is. I guess it must be in parts unknown.
I guess because they've flown you places, right? They've flown you down. Do you know when they had me on POV, they gave me a Greyhound ticket? You know how long that takes to get from one side of Canada to New York to be with Rick to do
Wow.
POV? This was ridiculous. Okay? I mean, I saw more wrestling matches happen on the bus than I did in the entire week of wrestling. But
Wow.
that beside, the great people at the headquarters of WPOV took our conversation last week. Me and you had a conversation where we talked about what grabbed us in pro wrestling, and we threw out to the fans, kind of blithely. We threw out, "Hey fans, write us and tell us blah blah blah." Well, they turned it into a formal poll, and man, we had some great results. Lots of people. We're going to get into that in the news in a sec. But
Okay.
so I'm thinking, I was wondering what kind of question, if I could talk to you about this week, would it be? And I was racking my brain, and the question I came up with was this, because this was an interesting one for me. Elio, have you ever been watching wrestling where they did an angle that was so coolly realistic that even that was so coolly realistic that you watched it and went, okay, that got me, but from somebody that you would not expect it from, like from a wrestler who maybe didn't really do much or was kind of a laughing stock. Was there one guy out of nowhere who
Yes.
shocked you and went in a thing and went, wow? And you say yes, and I'm
Yeah.
curious, who is your person? And tell me what happened.
Actually, it's I'm gonna go with the whole Jeff Hardy. I didn't expect this persona to come out like when he started like doing the voices in his head thing.
Mm-hmm.
That was just like weird, but it was interesting because it was like we were like hearing his thoughts. We were inside his mind.
Okay, I get that. Now that's weird. But the question I wanted you to dig further was: is there a wrestler who isn't really a big name though that this happened to? Somebody like who like a jobber or somebody who was a bit of a laughing stock or not that great of a wrestler, but had one great thing that made you go, "Whoa, that was pretty realistic and cool." And I'll give you an example. Will you think in your head? I think back
Okay.
to when I was probably about 13 or 14 years old, watching AWA wrestling from Winnipeg.
Okay.
And there was a great match that featured the Road Warriors, as they were called back then, not the Legion of Doom that they became, but the Road Warriors, Animal and Hawk, facing the High Flyers. Now, Jumping Jim Brunzell was a good wrestler. Greg Gagne, not so much, okay? And a lot of people, were always on Gagne's case because, his dad owned the company, and he basically looked like a skinny insurance salesman. He didn't look like a wrestler, and he really didn't do much in professional wrestling.
Right.
But this one match that I saw, the High Flyers versus the Road Warriors, it ended in a disqualification. The Road Warriors get disqualified. They're mad. They throw Jim Brunzell out, and they proceed to beat Greg Gagne so badly. They split him open. There's blood everywhere. They won't stop beating him. Okay, they just keep beating him and beating him. Then all the locker room comes out, clears the ring, and Gagne is so out of it, man. He's walking around, he's throwing punches at the air, he's covered in blood. And I think in that moment was the one time I had the most respect in the world for Greg Gagne, because he made it seem like that was the most realistic thing I'd ever seen. At 14 years old, I knew wrestling was, predetermined, and it was all.
Yeah.
But there was a big part of me that wanted to walk away thinking in my head, man, he took a beating for real. Like, oh. And it was so well done that it just vividly points in my mind that anybody, if you just stick to your guns, you can really sell a great wrestling match. And I see matches today where guys take like 30 finishers and then pop up and do a move and win. And I think, okay, yeah, it was cool to see that. But the day of the storytelling where it grabs you and pulls you in and makes you think, man, I just saw, like, could that have been real? Maybe there was something beef backstage and they took it out on him. Sure, it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But as wrestling fans, we want those moments where our disbelief is suspended.
So when I was growing up, I didn't really get to see much of like wrestling. Like you only had like the WWF on Saturdays and Sundays. So I couldn't really pick one out, but like when Raw first came on in '93, like it was like the 1-2-3 kid, where he looks like this skinny guy that like looked like a chopper, and like
he didn't just look like it; he was a skinny guy who was a
but like he was like feuding with Razor Ramon, and
that was a moment.
He always did like what he could try and beat him and never did, and then. eventually, he finally beat Razor Ramon.
And that, yeah,
at the
and
end.
it was such great storytelling. And I guess fans,
Yep.
the question I'm going to throw out here, because at that time, the 1-2-3 kid, he was kind of a joke, you know.
Yep.
He was just the skinny little jobber kid who, and then this made him. Okay.
Oh, did you hear about the story behind the shaved eyebrows?
No, but is it okay? Go ahead. I want to hear this.
Apparently, Mr. Perfect was the one that shaved his eyebrows on a flight that they were going on. Because I was always trying to figure out for years. I never understood like what the deal was with his eyebrows, and then it just came up.
No, you know what? You just made me think of one other famous rib that was really funny. Do you remember back in the day? I don't remember what WrestleMania it was at, but it was the one where Roddy Piper fought Bad News Brown, and
that was 6.
Okay, now I grew up with Bad News Brown in our home territory as Bad News Allen, and he was way cooler than Bad News Brown. He was legitimate, scary main event, scary ass dude. Okay.
I think all these guys outside of WWF are all cooler than their WWE.
Yeah, and they get watered down to Bad News Brown comes out with a ghetto blaster. That was his freaking okay. Anyways, so I guess Roddy Piper. He painted himself half black for that match, right? Well, I guess the story was when he painted himself, he was using the stuff that was supposed to come off with this. You had this some kind of lotion he could put on and it would take the paint off really easy, right? Well, I guess I can't remember who it was, if it was Mr. Perfect or no, maybe that was before him. Somebody switched the chemical that he was supposed to use. Wow. So when he went to put the stuff on, it didn't come off. So that night he had to fly on commercial airlines, painted half white and half black, sitting there in his regular clothes with people looking at him like he's the biggest freak show in the world. And, now that's some pretty funny stuff. Oh, wow. Now, fans, I want to get back to this here, this match thing. Elio's talked about the 1-2-3 kid. Up until this moment, he was a jobber. Nobody took him seriously. The drama and the build of this match helped launch him into something else. It grabbed you. It grabbed the fans. It brought you in. Now, I told a story about Greg Gagne. This did not make Greg Gagne a superstar, but it legitimized the Road Warriors as being two of the biggest, baddest asses in the entire world. They were tough guys after this, even more so than they were. But Greg Gagne played the everyman who had heart beyond belief. I may not have been a big Greg Gagne fan, but watching
there was another one there was another one I recall. Paul Roma.
Oh my God! You're going to talk about Paul Roma? Okay, let's hear this.
Well, no, when he teamed up with Hercules, it was basically the same thing. Like he had gotten so frustrated with losing all the time, and like that's when he turned heel and started teaming with Hercules.
Now I'm not sure what kind of weird things you've been smoking, Elio. But Paul Roma is one of the most ridiculous. Saying his name makes me want to spit out. He was a terrible wrestler, he never got any better. Terrible. Nothing. There was nothing in that he did that made you drew you in.
No, that just came to my mind, but there was nothing there.
There was nothing there. Okay, so fans, don't be like Elio and think of something like that. Be like TJ Logan.
Don't be like me.
Be like TJ Logan.
It's late, okay?
I'm just curious, fans, if there was somebody who either got elevated from a cool storyline that you saw that was so realistic, or it helped that person may not have elevated themselves, but they helped somebody really get elevated by what happened to them. I'm curious. Right in. I talked about Greg Gagne getting his ass handed to him by the Road Warriors. The Road Warriors definitely went up a gazillion notches in people's eyes. Greg Gagne not so much. 1-2-3 kid, he went up. He hit the stratosphere, man, with his storyline. So I'm just curious about that. Now, we talked about our stories. You know what? Before we get into the news, let's do that poll. Since we're talking about the stuff right now. We talked about last week's question. And we asked, was there like a wrestler who really drew you in? Who just like got you into wrestling? And you know what? We had a ton of fans.
We had a lot of comments.
Now, we're going to go over some of these. Well, I'll probably go over them all. But it seems like the most common one, Bret Hart probably scored higher than anybody on this. And I get that because I grew up in the era where Bret started, and I loved Bret Hart, man.
Yeah, I'd put him as one of the guys that really got me into it.
All right, well, let's look at some of these names on here. Clay Cummings says Eddie Guerrero. Very good pick.
Okay, and Glenn Ottaway says Sweet Daddy Siki Dick Bulldog Brower and the Beast.
I wonder what Beast he's referring to. Glenn
No,
Ottaway, do you mean
I'm
Dan
sure
Severin? If you don't, could you write us in? Because I have no idea. I know who
It
Sweet
better
Daddy
not
C.
be Brock Lesnar.
Oh, yeah.
It better not be Brock Lesnar.
Now, I know Dick the Bulldog Brower, for the fans who grew up in wrestling of the 60s and 70s, that guy was amazing. Okay, I get that. Sweet Daddy Siki, one of the coolest African-American wrestlers that ever came around. Have no idea about the Beasts, which Beast you're referring to. So please, Glenn Ottaway, write us in and just tell us what Beast you're talking about, okay? So we can, maybe we'll look him up on the YouTube, the old YouTube machine. This one kind of made me laugh. Chris Seacone said Dino Bravo. Oh, man.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
Dino Bravo. I really hope you grew up in French Canada and you saw this guy wrestle a lot from there, because if this is anything to do with WWE's Dino Bravo, you don't know wrestling very well, my friend.
It's like what I said earlier. These guys are way cooler outside of the company, because once they hit WWE, that's it.
Now, Daniel Fryer went a little bit nuts here. We asked for a wrestler, maybe two. He went Hogan, Warrior, Savage, Sting, Flair, Demolition, Road Warriors. Well, you pretty much covered all the wrestlers of the 80s that were in the top main event, so okay, fair enough.
Wow. Okay. A lot of Bret Hart. This one, Shaquem Jordan says, The Rock, the first time around, stumbled across wrestling again during the Kane Taker segment leading into WrestleMania 20.
That's cool. One guy simply just put a picture of Bret Hart.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'll give that credit to Matt Honeycutt. William T. I'm sorry if I get your name wrong. Wondolowski says, Hulk Hogan, what you gonna do? Not bad.
Okay. Andrew Teaster said Sting.
How about this guy? Mogamed Yassin Isaac said Bret Hart and CM Punk. So obviously he likes guys who are good technical wrestlers, like, the work rate guys, because that's definitely who that was. Jordana Pratt says The Undertaker.
Marky Cruz says Bret Hart with the 90s Hart Foundation, basically the Warzone era.
Okay. There you go. Roger Adams. He says Bret Hart. He always seemed like such a genuine human, and he was a badass in the ring. Go on.
Yep. Oh, no, I was going to say Jesse Luciano Garcia says Bret Hart.
And Warbucks, L. Don. These are some interesting names. I wonder if they're real names. Replied to Jesse Luciano Garcia saying the same. So you know what? It seems that in this era of sports entertainment, a lot of people pick Bret Hart. And I don't blame them. Bret Hart was definitely a guy who kind of revolutionized wrestling. I mean, when you look back at the time Bret Hart was really breaking out, you had big guys like Hulk Hogan. You had all these big musclehead guys in the WWE who were just big lumbering beasts who threw people around. And then you had Bret Hart.
Yep.
And Bret Hart looked like you and me. He was an average sized guy, but he had the talent. He could out wrestle anyone. He could go in there and take apart a big man, take apart a small man, whatever. Bret Hart was the dude. So yeah, I gotta say Bret Hart is definitely right up there. I was surprised.
Well, I still remember. I still remember my first live event in 1990. The main event had the Hart Foundation. Bret and Jim.
Nice. Now, I am a little saddened and a little disappointed that nobody said Dynamite Kid at all. I was hoping there was some Dynamite Kid love out there. I know the guy's supposed to be a bit of a douchebag before he died, and nobody really liked him at all. But he revolutionized in my ideas. He look at that. He revolutionized the way I talk, apparently. But he revolutionized wrestling and took it to an era. I remember going back recently and looking back at old wrestling, and you look back and nobody goes over the top rope. Nobody jumps off the top rope. Nobody does all these crazy moves. There's lots of plotting moves. There's lots of excitement and fun and comebacks and stuff. But Dynamite was the first guy to do all that crazy crap off the ropes. All the stuff you see today when you see Flip Gordon and all these guys doing this crazy crap, they got to thank Dynamite Kid for opening the door, because him and Tiger Mask, they showed the world that stuff was on the doorstep. So why don't we hit off to do some news today? And I'm sure you've got a whole bunch of AEW news, because that seems to be the only thing.
So in news, AEW news, Double or Nothing on May 25th, it's been officially announced that it will be Cody Rhodes versus Dustin Rhodes.
Interesting, brother against brother. You know what? I think I don't want to give an answer right now, and I want you to think about it hard too. I think in the next week or two, we're going to have to go over and do a whole card lineup of AEW's pay-per-view. We're going to make our predictions and our talks about it, and I want you to think really hard what you think of this, because this is an interesting match. There's many ways this can go. I'm not going to give even a hint of who I'm picking for this match.
And now apparently AEW has signed 2 new librarian characters.
Oh, librarians. How interesting.
Apparently, I don't know why they call it. They didn't call me. I've been working in there since for 20 years.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
But so they've signed Leva Bates.
Oh, Blue Pants.
Formerly Blue Pants, and Peter Avalon, who used to wrestle in Impact Wrestling as Nora Furnham.
Okay, him I don't know, but I remember Blue Pants. She's amazing. I'm glad she's getting a chance. I'm glad she's getting a chance.
And then we have ROH has announced that the Guerrillas of Destiny will defend their tag team championships in the main event of the War of the Worlds show on May 12th in Villa Park, Illinois. Against the Briscoes. Yeah. And we will also be seeing the NJPW Young Lions in action on that same event.
Wow, the Young Lions? Wow. As if you...
The Young Lions... Clark Connors, Carl Fredericks, and Alex Conway.
Okay, so we're talking the American New Lions. The ones out of the San Francisco dojo. Okay. You know what? Any chance, I joke when I say certain wrestlers coming over from New Japan and being on things, but fans, you get a chance to see these guys. New Japan has some incredible talent in there.
And there's one piece of Impact Wrestling news.
It's over. It's holding up the gates. It's over. No? Okay, no. Okay, sorry. What's the news? Sorry.
Okay, so apparently the Hit Squad is no more, as Gursinder Singh, who wrestles as Raj, has asked for his release from the company.
Close.
And
I think you might have mixed that up, though, because I know those guys. Gurvinder Singh was the guy who has been injured for a long time, the thinner one that you haven't seen for a while.
Oh, wait a minute. So, okay.
There was 3 of them.
So, yeah, whoever reported that, then I don't know what they were doing.
Now, the only reason... I don't mean to sound rude correcting you or anything, but the only reason I know this is because Gurvinder Singh is a friend of mine. And he posted up... I knew him from wrestling out here in Western Canada as Tony Cage. And he just said that he put up a thing on his Facebook saying... he's on to bigger and better things and, wishes the other guys luck. But it's not the 2 guys that we've been watching.
Okay.
It's not Raj. It's not Raj. It's not Gamma Singh Jr. and it's not that Raj little guy, whatever his name is. It was the third guy who got injured last year.
Yeah, okay. So I don't know whoever did that one. And then NXT UK has a new addition to its roster, Alexander Wolf.
Alexander Wolf? Nice. Yep. From, the German dude, right?
Sanity, yes. And I don't know if I should be... there was a new... they had the TV tapings in Scotland. They had the new stables.
You know what? Bring it up, sure, because I'm sure it's going to come up in an episode or 2 of WWE UK pretty soon.
We've got Walter joining the European Union, Marcel Barthel, and Fabian Eichner, and they will be now known as Imperium.
Elio, you son of a bitch. You just wanted to say Marcel Barthel, didn't you? That's the only reason you brought that in there. I know how much you love saying that.
You got me.
I know. You probably made that up. That probably never happened at all. You just wanted to say his name. Okay, that's some good stuff. Well, you know what, fans? I can't think of a poll. Well, we asked for a comment. I don't know if they'll turn that into a poll. Maybe they will. Maybe they won't. Mm-hmm. But if we don't, we'll find out a poll. I can't think of one right now. We'll think of one before next episode. But
okay.
And we have something interesting going on. Like New Japan, they wonder why people struggle to sometimes follow along with what they're doing, because sometimes they do some weird crap. Okay. For instance.
Okay. I mean, I enjoy watching it, but like this Dontaku, I got through day 1. I was going to go do day 2 and day 3 and everything else, but I'm
that's exactly it. They started the wrestling to Dontaku was coming up, right? Where they were doing the road to.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, up pops a show, and the name of it, oh my goodness, Sengoku Lord in Nagoya.
See, and this is where it throws me off.
Yeah. You know what, dude? Me too, because I have no idea. This never happened last time. So, fine, I guess they do this show. It seems like most of the matches were the same kind of matches on the road, except there were 2 title defenses that occurred. And One of them was okay. We saw Juice Robinson defending his belt against Bad Luck Fale and retaining the belt. But the next one, Kota Ibushi versus Zack Sabre Jr., I thought was an incredibly good match. I've got to say, as much as we hate Zack Sabre Jr., it's hard not to watch his matches once you start. I mean,
I'm watching like every movie he does. It's like, okay.
Because every move he does leads into something. Every move he fails leads into the other wrestler. It's like watching exciting chess.
And he has such an odd build, too.
Yeah. But you know what? I really enjoyed this match. I thought Kota Ibushi really, he started off, Zack Sabre really kind of tried to push the envelope here. Tried a lot of his, usually douchey stuff. Kota has this thing where he loses his temper and then he kind of turns really dicky-like, and he starts doing brutal moves. And he was doing that, like he was like kicking Zack in the face, in the back. He got really pissy with Zack.
And I noticed that there was a lot of kicks thrown. It's like, wow.
And I loved it. Zack comes in and he like tries to do all these holds, and all of a sudden, Ibushi just boots him as hard as he can in the thigh, takes him down. Yep. Great move. Wins with the Kamagoya, which is a brutal wrestling move, fans. He grabs you by your inner wrist, twists it slightly, and then rams his knee right into your face.
Oh, ow.
The highlight of this, or I guess not the highlight, sorry, but the repercussions of this, at the end of this match, Tatsuya Naito comes out and challenges Koto to a match sometime at Dontaku for the belt. Kota Ibushi accepts it.
That's the official show, right?
That'll be, okay, and here's the thing. The official Dontaku show is either 2 or 3 nights in a row. So it's not just one card. Yeah. So on one of those nights, Kota Ibushi will be defending against Tatsuya Naito, and I think that's going to be a great. I still have not yet figured out who the main event is going to be. I'm having my feeling that it's going to be Okada versus Sonata. That's who I'm feeling is coming up for that. I could be wrong, and I definitely think we're leading up to Dragon Lee putting his smaller belt, or what do you call it, the light heavyweight title, against Taiji Ishimori. I think the Bold Soldier is getting his rematch then. And another match that I think we should really keep an eye on, and it seems like, well, 2 matches actually that are kind of personal feuds building here. It seems like Tomohiro Ishii and Evil have some kind of thing going on right now where they're taking every chance to go at each other. And the other one that interests me a lot too, Hiroki Goto and Jay White. So those
Hiroki Goto and Jay White,
and Switchblade Jay White, looking like they're kind of on a collision course. So we're not sure where all that's headed. Dontaku, the whole card has not been announced, but you know what has been announced, and we'll do this really quickly. They have announced the following wrestlers for the Best of Super Junior Tag, the Super Junior tournament coming up, not the tag tournament, but the Best of Super Junior, okay?
Okay.
The guys who are entered in here, and you can just quickly go yay, nay, or whatever. Ryosuke Taguchi, that's our...
the coach.
The coach.
Yeah.
All right, Tiger Mask.
Okay.
Rocky Romero. Sho.
Okay.
Yo. Will Ospreay.
Okay, so Roppongi 3K.
Yeah, Roppongi, all of them.
Okay.
Yeah, they got Romero, Sho, and Yo all entered. Will Ospreay.
Right.
The Bone Soldier, Taiji Ishimori.
Okay.
El Desperado, Tako Michinoku. Yoshinobu.
Taka Michinoku, wow.
Yeah. Yoshinobu
Kanemaru.
Bushi. Flip Gordon.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Titan, who's a Mexican wrestler who's been there quite a bit. Marty Skrull.
Okay.
Dragon Lee. Robbie Eagles, who's a British or Australian wrestler who's been doing some work in there. Jonathan Gresham. Bandito. Shingo
okay, cool.
Shingo Takagi.
Shingo Takagi.
Yeah, you know him from him and Bushi always team up.
Yep.
And the last one, they said a Mystery X wrestler, but all signs are pointing to El Phantasmo. So,
So what happened? So this is his Bullet Club debut as part of Bullet Club?
Yeah, definitely Bullet Club has been showing all the pictures of him. When we find out the brackets and the thing, fans, we'll quickly go over our picks for this, and we'll follow along the junior tag team tournament. Or I keep saying tag team tournament. Sorry, the junior heavyweight tournament, because there is also a junior tag team tournament, which will follow the month after this. Okay, but yes, already looking at this lineup, I think the guys to look out for are definitely Will Ospreay, Marty Skrull, and I'm gonna say El Phantasmo is gonna make a hell of a splash here.
Yep. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the same. Yeah, like I said, I'm a fan of El Phantasmo from everything we've seen before.
All right. Well, you know what, fans? We're going to kick it off. We're going to go look over at WWE NXT UK really quickly. We're going to go over this and we're going to take a break, all right? This week's match, it seemed like there were matches from all over the place. And some of these...
This looked like it was the matches from TakeOver, the dark matches.
Yeah, it definitely was, and it had such a different feel not being with the British crowds,
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to go through them quickly. Okay. Your favorite tag team, the Coffee Brothers, Joe and Mark.
I'm sure you're mistaken.
Defeating Raul Mendoza and Humberto Carrillo. The one thing I want to say about this, Mendoza and Carrillo, they really impressed me. I've never seen these guys wrestle as well, ever.
I saw Carrillo. I've never seen Mendoza. This is my first time seeing him.
Well, they put on a heck of a great match.
Yeah. This was great, yeah.
They lost to the Coffee Brothers, but I think those two guys don't usually team, but I was very impressed by that, okay?
Yep.
We got to some stupid thing with Cassius Ohno. Who is he threatening this time? Ligero. Wow.
Ligero, because they're going to face off next week.
Yeah, interesting. Your good buddy. Him and Mark Andrews saying that they're going to be out there looking at. All right, here's a match where, there's just so much of me wanted to say who the hell cares, was Kono Reeves versus Dave Mastiff.
I've never seen Kono Reeves. I wasn't impressed by either of these two.
Yeah, Kono Reeves, he wrestled Dave Mastiff. Well, yeah, you guys already know that I'm not the biggest Dave Mastiff fan.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, it was Eddie Dennis that he beat at TakeOver Blackpool. That's how much I care. I even got the name wrong.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool, man. You're probably the only one who noticed. Match number 3, the goddess of NXT UK, Rhea Ripley, defeating Casey Catanzaro.
Catanzaro. Yeah, this is the one where I was saying she was walking around with a walking boot afterwards.
Yeah. I give this Casey girl, she was pretty interesting. She had a lot of cool offense that she's small. Mm-hmm. A lot of times Rhea would just grab her and just slam her down out of midair. Yep. But, she has some, there's something spunky about her that I like. Of course, Rhea, she's my girl, and she destroyed. Then we had, James Drake and Zach Gibson defeated, losing by countout.
First of all, I'm telling you, I'm not a fan of the Grizzling veterans. I gave him a chance in the beginning, but Zach Gibson is just annoying on the mic. Every time he opens his mouth to talk, I'm just like, okay, I've heard enough. And I'm telling you, when they lose that belt, the belts, James Drake is gonna get so tired of Zach Gibson.
We can hope so. We can really hope so. I'm sort of digging Amir Jordan and Kenny Williams. They're definitely the comedy guys, but they're pretty funny. You know, they're worth a good laugh. I'm going to say this week's show was okay. Rhea definitely gave it an extra mark than I would have given it, so I'm going to give it a B this week.
Yeah, I'm going to give the show a B, yeah.
All right.
I've seen a couple of guys I've never seen before, but yeah.
And they were all the NXT guys, because we don't watch NXT very much.
Yeah.
With all the wrestling we got, I don't get a lot of time to see NXT. I've got to admit it. And but I had watched it quite a bit before, so I did recognize some of these guys.
Yeah.
But I think right now we're going to take a little bit of a break here.
Okay.
And when we come back, we got our other 3 programs to talk about. All right, fans?
All right.
This is the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, and you are listening to the Wrestling POV podcast.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I was just faxed an announcement from the WPOV president.
How come you got the fax?
I don't know. He said, Elio, we need you to make this announcement on the show, so if you would please do that for us, we greatly appreciate it.
Oh, brother. Okay, let's hear this.
So, ladies and gentlemen, new independent wrestling company, Imperial World Wrestling, is holding its draft this Saturday at 2 p.m. in Queens, New York, at the Grandstand, and it will be hosted by Rick Serrano III, and he will be bringing back his agent persona, the only man I know, the right man for the job, Rick Serrano III, hosting the Imperial World Wrestling Draft Saturday at 2 p.m. in Queens, New York at the Grandstand.
Wow. Imperial Wrestling must not have had a big budget. Okay, anyways. No, folks. Rick Serrano III, I may joke around, but that dude is a hell of a host. He's going to do a great job.
Yes, he is.
I look forward to it.
Yes, the right man for the job. I know I couldn't do that.
Well, you know what you could do? You could cover ROH
What could
Wrestling.
All right, that sounds that sounds great. Sounds like a plan. Let's do some ROH. And for ROH, in the opening match, we kick things off with Kenny King defeating Tracy Williams.
Good old hot sauce. You know, is it just me, or is every time Kenny King's in the room, it seems to suck the air out of it?
I wasn't feeling this match at all. No, this one, not a good way to open ROH.
I'm going to say, as hard as I am on Kenny King, at least he was a little more interesting this week. I thought his wrestling was okay.
Yep.
Okay. I like Tracy Hot Sauce Williams, but he's a smaller guy. That dude needs to put on some weight.
You know, I'm not feeling this whole Lifeblood anymore. I thought, like, okay, this should be interesting. I want to see what they do with this, but they seem to have, like, faded out.
Yeah, they
faded out.
They seem to have taken something that was interesting and made it very not interesting.
And then we have the Bouncers, Beer City Bruiser and Brian Malonis defeating Reno Scum. Not a fan of Reno Scum at all.
Oh, man, have we seen so much cellulite in one ring? Holy smokes.
Actually, I have a question. Like, I know this, I read about this a while back. In ROH, there was, like, a group called Scum, just regular, like, Scum. I think Matt Hardy was part of it.
Okay.
Well, I'm not sure if what you know about that.
Not very much. I'm going to admit, I don't know this team. I don't know Scum.
Okay. Wow, okay.
Okay.
No,
what does this have to do with cellulite?
Absolutely nothing.
Okay,
It's late.
Reno Scum is, man, they're...
Yeah, no, they are terrible.
Yeah. And at the same time, the Bouncers are pretty terrible, too. I like Beer City Bruiser, but Brian Malonis is just... There just comes a part where you've exceeded being a fat guy to just being a lump of disgusting.
But you know what? At least you know their names. I don't even know Reno Scum's names, those guys.
Yeah, they had really dumb names, too. One guy was like, this is Joseph Smith and Elrod the Elf, or something stupid like that. It was like something stupid. I don't know. I didn't have enough care to pay attention when I heard the name the first time. So, okay, I'm actually looking at it. You know what their names are? Adam Thurstow and Luster the Legend. I take exception to Mr. the Legend. Luster?
I know, right?
Luster, huh? Luster's the guy who's supposedly 6'5" or 8 or something.
How dare you, sir, call yourself a legend? There's only one legend I know.
That's right, Elio. You tell him. Reno Scum, you better not show up on our podcast. But if you'd like, I'll interview the hell out of you. No, anyways, okay, the Beer City Bruiser and Brian Malonis win this match. Wasn't very much of a match. I mean, Reno Scum didn't really show very much here.
Then in the main event, it was Bandito defeating PJ Black with a German suplex.
Now, there's so much about this match that caught my eye, okay?
Mm-hmm. This was a good one. I like this.
I even like the lead up. I like PJ Black coming out and talking. You know what I think would have made this a hell of a great match?
What's that?
I think this would have been perfect had they... I mean, you don't have Juice Robinson around a lot. This would have been great if they brought PJ Black into the group.
Yeah, like PJ Black added to Lifeblood.
Yeah, I mean...
That would have been interesting.
It would have been interesting, exciting. It fit the storyline. But instead, they just had a pretty good match. Man, that Bandito's exciting. Bandito's pretty exciting. I say he's definitely got a lot of future written on his in his future. Well, that sounded stupid, but he's definitely a guy to keep an eye out for, folks. Because
I'm gonna guess this was taped weeks ago.
Probably, yeah, I believe so.
Because at the end of ROH had Bully Ray standing over to Neil Dashwood, who was put through a table.
Yeah, and now we know she's already no longer part of the company.
Yeah.
That's what sucks. That's why, like, later when we talk about Impact and MLW, there are things that happened on last week that we know happened weeks ago because something else has happened. So, yeah, unfortunately, nature of the beast in wrestling like this. So,
that was ROH. Aside from the main event, it was not not the best ROH.
No, I'm going to have to give this one. I would say the Bandito PJ Black match was really good.
Yep.
Williams versus King was and thumbs down to Luster, the Bunghole, and Reno Scum, and whatever those guys are. So I'm going to give this one a C. Okay.
Okay.
Maybe a C
I'm
plus.
going same.
Maybe a C plus.
Yeah.
And that isn't a drink, folks. I'm giving it a.
I was just about to say that.
All right. Next up, Major League Wrestling, MLW. This week
I have stuff to say about this.
Good. Okay. Some of the things we saw in here. First of all, opening match was really odd that they would open with these two, but Airwolf and Ray Horace teaming up to lose to Pentagon Jr. and Ray Phoenix.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, I like to say this about this match. A lot of times we see lucha matches can be a little bit like flippity-dippity crap where you don't really, But I really felt this match. I really enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah. It wasn't a bad match. It was pretty good.
And for the weirdest part, this is the first time I thought that Pentagon Jr. and Phoenix, they almost seemed like they were almost leaning towards kind of a lot of heelish stuff in this one.
Especially in the beginning. I think I heard one of them cussing in Spanish.
Yeah.
I'm like, I understood what he said.
Yeah, he called the guy's mother. Anyways.
Yeah. And Team Lead Apps was like, hey, we can't repeat it.
Airwolf, I guess he's like some 18-year-old kid who's just been trained. He put in a good show, and Ray Horace looked good, but definitely the Lucha Brothers looked incredible here.
Yep.
Next up, we had Ace Romero against Joseph Samael. Ugh, Contra.
Oh,
Contra.
This
sucks.
match. This match was a disaster. This was a mess.
It was a. Go on.
Contra just like attacked Romero, and then out comes Barrington Hughes to
get beat on himself,
make the save, and he clears the ring, and then I don't know, it was just a mess.
We've talked about Contra before. I don't see what people see in them because apparently some people are hot on Contra. I don't see it.
I don't know why.
I don't know why either. They're terrible. I guess it's all leading up, and I hope that's what it's leading towards. Is Filthy Tom Lawler going to do something about them eventually?
Now, this leads into the promo, right? Because I have a question. He said he's waiting for his friends to arrive. Mm-hmm. Who might they be bringing in?
I have not heard anything yet.
Okay.
And I would be careful of his friends because it wasn't the last friend he brought in. Simon Gotch.
Simon Gotch, and who's now leading Contra?
Yeah. So, here's the thing that confused me. I always thought Simon Gotch was the leader of Contra, but the announcers kept saying that Joseph Samael was.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm very confused by that. Now, folks, we make fun of guys a lot in our book. Guys like, who's the first guy we put in there? That goofy dude. Facade. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Gringo Loco is not far off from Facade's looks, but Gringo Loco delivers in the ring. And this week he took on, oh my God, Puma King is ridiculous.
Oh my God.
He acts like a cat. He dresses like a cat. And I want to kick him like I would an ugly cat. He's terrible, but Gringo Loco getting the win here. Pretty good match. And here's the case. Hey, this is how long ago was this tape? Because we've reported that Puma King was let go by MLW 2 weeks ago.
Yes, right. When I saw this, I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on? Why is Gringo Loco facing Puma King? I thought he was gone.
Now, stretching the imagination is one thing wrestling has always been known to do. Trying to mix realism with just utter stupidity is something we see a lot too. And I mean, the Hart Foundation stealing MJF's car, but taping it. Oh my God! That whole segment was just painful. And here was what's funny is this is where I guess someday we're gonna have to figure out how we want to do this, because if you notice, some of these matches fans came from from Battle Riot, which we talked about when Battle Riot came out. And then they've taken a match here, a match there. This match, they're alluding to the Hart Foundation versus the Dynasty in a tables match. Well, that was at Battle Riot. So,
and we're going to see that next week.
Even though we know who won and we know how it turned out, because we talked about it 3 weeks ago.
God.
Yeah, so, okay. Now, this is the part I know you're going to want to talk about this. Where does
Yes.
this go? Sami Callihan taking on Mance Warner. Now,
Yep.
okay, first of all, we had a great promo. I thought it was funny as hell when Selena De La Renta tried to get
my
Mance
goodness.
to take out
Yes.
Sami. And
he said, "My granddaddy always told me what happens when I lie with
women like you.
women like you.
With-
I end up with fleas."
Yeah. It was so
Did
awesome.
you respond?
And she was so stunned. Her comeback came like 30 seconds later. Yeah, well, your genitalia has fleas. Oh, I don't think she expected to be turned down so hard.
Oh, man.
Now, Matt's getting in there with Sami. And here's the interesting story, folks. Sami Callihan is a disgusting pig. Okay, there's no way to describe it. I mean, you seen him in the match, dude. He's like spitting in the air and catching it. He's spitting on people. He's just disgusting. You know? However, he's had his run, I guess, fallout with Selena De La Renta's group. So he's been a target. Meanwhile, Mance, remember a couple weeks ago, spilled beer on Selena. So yeah, I guess that's a good reason to go to war. But so now they have this match was pretty good. There was some disgusting stuff in it, of course. Ella Callahan doing just gross ass crap. One of my favorite parts is when Mance said something to Sami about him wearing a flak jacket. So he opened his flak jacket to take a slap from Warner, and Warner just about like caved his chest in. The look on Sami's face was hilarious. This match goes on, and then they get jumped by other members like Hio de la Donkey. Los Angeles Park. Hio de Los Angeles Park. And what is even the other guy's name? I don't know. The little Spanish guy who's always getting in trouble. But anyways, they attack.
Not Ricky Martinez.
Yes, there we go. Now, they get in there. They cause the disqualification.
Right.
Callahan and Warner look at each other, shake hands, and then go after these guys. So, I don't know.
I have a question.
Yes.
How are we supposed to take this angry little man who is the reason that the Book of Shame exists, and how are we supposed to look at him as a face in MLW?
Well,
I don't understand.
I don't understand if we've landed in Bizarro world where everything's the opposite. I don't know if me and you ate some bad mushrooms and this is all just a bad trip. Because Sami Callihan, that greasy, disgusting, sweaty, spitting pig, is supposed to be... Are we supposed to be feeling sorry for him?
I get the commentators go for anyone who faces him because they don't like him. They think he's disgusting.
Now, hey, quick quiz. When Jim Cornette said that he hated Sami Callihan because Sami Callihan took a baseball bat to his friend's face, do you know who he was talking about?
Not sure.
Well, if you remember last year, Sami Callihan accidentally hit Eddie Edwards in the face with a baseball bat during an Impact match. Broke his cheekbone, and he slipped. He went to hit the chair. It slipped off the chair, hit Eddie straight in the face. And
right, the baseball bat. Yeah, I remember now.
That's where this heat from Cornette and Callahan comes in. It makes sense. Cornette and Eddie Edwards are longtime friends, so so at least that was very realistic. But okay, I love Mance, but Mance, do not hang around this grease ball. You think
don't do it?
You think you're going to get fleas from Selena? I can't even describe the disgusting STDs that I'm sure Sami Callihan has floating.
I have a question though.
Yes.
If we're gonna start seeing Mance Warner hang around with this guy, I don't know. What are we gonna do about this? As far as the book goes,
I don't know. I just know this is that I don't ever see Sami Callihan coming out of the book, and
No. What are we gonna do with Mance Warner? I don't know. With him in the book,
I don't think Mance is going to take this crap for too long. I think they're going to team up, do some. I think Mance is going to turn on him the first chance he can finish using him, and I think he deserves it. Callahan deserves it.
Oh, thank goodness! We don't want to put him in the book.
Oh, Mance, you're one of the best reasons we watch MLW. Stay away from that spitty grease ball. So you know what, folks? I'm going to have to say this episode. Of all the shows this week, this was my favorite. Mm-hmm. It was exciting. It was fun. One of the things I wish fans, if you're listening to us because you've heard of ROH or you've watched Impact or you've watched New Japan, I would say give MLW a look-see. You know, they have their episodes up every Monday on YouTube, and they're fun. They're a fun little company, and they've got some great wrestlers, and I'm enjoying what I'm seeing. They do stuff in a fun way. It isn't boring. Like ROH, I love the wrestling to death, but the show could be pretty boring at times as a show.
Yeah.
You know, even NXT UK suffers sometimes of not having any spice to it, right? But MLW definitely has a lot of spice to it. Now
MLW is good. Selina's comment was awesome this week. But I have a question for our listeners.
Mm-hmm.
We did that poll a few weeks back. How can you vote yes to having Heart Foundation keep doing these promos?
Yes,
they're terrible.
Fans, did you misunderstand us? Write in if you misunderstood and said we didn't get the poll, because they are terrible. H2 promos are horrible.
We saw them again this week.
Hey, and on a weird aside, Elio, in about 2 months' time, Teddy Hart will be up here in where I live, close to the area, and I'll be seeing him at a Supercard. I'm going to see if I can get another interview with him. And I don't know how crazy it's going to go, but we've had some pretty crazy ones.
I can't wait to hear this.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear that one.
So I definitely will not be asking him about H2.
No, don't do that.
Now, the thing I say about MLW, it's like if you take a piece of bread and you put some really good, you put a little bit of margarine, maybe you put a little bit of peanut butter, a little bit of jam, you got a great sandwich. Then you get Impact, where you take a piece of bread and you put 14 pounds of salt on it, and maybe some cayenne.
What kind of food are you eating? You mix some margarine with peanut butter.
Hey, yes, butter and peanut butter, man. You got to eat it together.
No, you said margarine.
Oh, margarine and peanut butter, same thing.
They're not the same thing.
No, I said you put them together. You cannot eat a peanut butter sandwich without margarine.
Okay,
it helps slide down your throat. Okay, and it tastes good.
All right.
Okay,
all right.
Now,
and then it's late.
Okay, now before Elio so rudely interrupted what I was trying to get at here, is I was saying as good as MLW is, Impact sucks ass, and we're going to talk about it next.
Yes, we are.
And man,
let's see.
Okay, Elio, before we jump into this. Mm-hmm. If I ever sit down and watch a Rosemary or Sue Young thing again, I am going to smash my face through my pad, because her and Kiera Hogan this week, this was akin to catching your testicles on a razor blade, man. This was horrible crap.
Oh man. Okay, let's see where Impact Wrestling starts. We have a mixed, I don't know if you can really call it a mixed tag. It's Scarlett Bordeaux and Fall Out Boy defeating the Desi Hit Squad.
Okay, let's get this out of the way. We've talked about Rhea Ripley being the NXT, being the NXT UK woman. We've talked about Io Shirai being the NXT woman. I gotta say, Rebecca Bardo, the way she dresses, ouch. She is a good-looking lady. Yeah. Falaba is disgusting, but Rebecca.
I don't like Falaba. I'm not a fan of Falaba at all.
And I feel so bad for the Desi Hit Squad. Great Gamma Son is a good friend of mine, and it's just painful to watch him in these matches. Ouch. Okay, so yeah, they do the whole gimmick where the East Indian guys don't want to hit the girl, but they're gonna if they have to. But in the end, she takes them. They win.
She got some shots in on them.
Yeah, she got some good stuff in on them.
Damn, she flew through the ropes.
And I gotta say, I love her ring attire.
Yeah.
Is that really ring attire or lingerie? I'm not sure.
Next, we had Moose defeating Dez of the Rascals.
Interesting match, but I don't like how the Rascals had to
No, sorry, it was Dez defeating Moose.
I didn't like how they got the victory over Moose by cheating.
It was a roll up, and he just rolled them up for the victory.
The other two guys interfered to set up the roll.
Oh yeah. Yep, with the other guys with the distraction on the apron.
So I think it just would have been a cooler out of nowhere roll up would have been even more infuriating for Moose, because at least Moose can say, "Oh well, it took 3 of them to do it." You know what I mean?
Yep.
Moose though he's been looking good. Where the hell do you get bathrobes like that? That's kind of ridiculous. But anyways, go on.
Next, we had the ridiculous segment that you just mentioned earlier.
Oh, she would have lost her soul if the bunny had... Oh, shut up! Who writes this crap? Oh.
Exactly.
Oh, Rosemary used to be a good wrestler. What is this crap? Just end all this shit.
Then we have Tessa Blanchard destroying Robert Revine's restaurant, whatever.
Terrible segment.
Yep.
And you know what? It's pretty rare when they do a segment like this that it works out. Most times it just looks like absolute crap, and this was one of them. It just looked terrible.
Yeah. Then we had Brian Cage going on a rampage, looking for answers, threatening Don Callis, and then going backstage to find Scott D'Amore. And we learned that Lance Storm will be the special referee again at Rebellion.
I love how Lance Storm has not been seen on Impact Wrestling forever. And just the one time he manages to pop in and tell the guy to calm down and be professional, he gets contracted to be the special referee. Oh boy, that's some contrived writing.
Then we have Madman Fulton defeating Tommy Dreamer. Now, I've already said once, I never like to agree with three morons, but I have to say I enjoyed watching OVE take out Tommy Dreamer.
Oh yeah, hey? It's sort of fun when the cockroaches rise up and eat each other. Tommy Dreamer, why won't you die, you cockroach?
Oh man.
Do you know who this guy is? This Madman Fulton?
No, who is he?
He actually was in NXT last year as Sawyer Fulton. He is.
Oh, I remember that name.
Yeah. So he just kind of flamed out with WWE, so Impact picked him up.
Okay, I remember that. Sorry, I remember Sawyer Fulton. Okay. So then we have Madison Rayne defeating Taya Valkyrie.
In a match that was too short and really meant nothing.
Yup. And we have
with Jordan Grace having the assist in a way.
And then we have a stupid Johnny Impact segment. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, that was crap.
In the main event, it was Lucha Brothers defeating Eddie Edwards and Eli Drake. Eli Drake turning on Eddie Edwards.
Now this was another one that was just too short of a match to get anything going. Mm-hmm. You know, LAX comes in at the end, and it seemed that was more of the more important part was LAX and the Lucha Brothers going at it again. Yep. Now we see Eddie Edwards getting turned on by Eli Drake, but we know that Eli Drake was terminated by Impact last week.
Yes.
So that's going to go nowhere now because he's being forced to sit out until they figure out what they're going to do with him.
Right, that's another one because now you can't put him in a feud with Eddie Edwards. He's already done.
Yeah, he's done, and it's a serious one. This is a breach of contract one. So, looking that up, what that means for Eli Drake is he can't sign with a national promotion for at least a year.
Wow.
What he can do is wrestle in small independents. I happen to notice that the touring company that came through here from Winnipeg, CWE, they brought in Psychosis. I just noticed that they picked up Eli Drake for a couple matches. And guess who else?
Oh, wow.
You're not going to believe who else. Another person in Limbo. They picked up, who's that big dummy from he used to be in ROH and then he was in New Japan. And we were making fun of him the other day because we thought he was making fun of Jeff Cobb. But, Michael Elgin.
Oh, wow.
Michael Elgin's wrestling in Saskatchewan and Manitoba.
Someone wants Michael Elgin?
Well, you know what? It's just small independent, so yeah, he's got a bit of a name.
Wow, okay.
So, yeah, wow. That's all I can say. Wow.
So that was Impact for this week.
Oh, man. I'm going to have to give Impact this week a D. It was pretty bad.
How did we do that? How did we get through this?
I don't know how we got through this. I just about lost my mind when Rosemary and oh my God, if you're gonna do stuff like this, please. I mean, it's bad enough that the stuff you're saying is absolutely pathetically ridiculous, but please get somebody who can deliver these lines. Kiera Hogan, she is horrible as an actress. She's a wrestler, obviously.
But see, Allie is already gone.
Yeah, that's another thing.
So why do they still continue on with this story?
She was the whole focus of the whole story, I guess.
Yeah, but she's gone. She died.
She did.
Quote.
Okay, folks. You know what? We're getting close to wrapping this up. Well, you didn't tell me. What did you give Impact this week?
Oh, I'm gonna give someone a D.
A D? Well, so I'm going to have to say MLW for me was the clear winner this week.
Yeah, MLW was definitely.
All right. So, fans, you know what? MLW, check it out on YouTube. You got ROH. You can find that on Honor Club, and you can find it on the Fight app. That's FITE.
Oh, by the way, the Fight app is working. It's been updated.
Yes.
So, there's no more crashes.
That's good because I was having a frustrating time trying to watch some stuff on there. So, yeah. Some great wrestling, some really bad wrestling, some interesting wrestling, and some really blah blah wrestling. But hey, that is the world of professional wrestling. Now, before we get out of here, before we do all our social media stuff, we would be remiss if we didn't open up the Book of Shame and see who's in there and see if anyone's coming out this week.
Let's open up the Book of Shame. Let's see what we have here in the Book of Shame. The first entry we have is Facade.
He stays. Until he gets a makeover, Facade stays.
We have the NXT UK backstage interviewer.
Always. Same as you, Nigel McGuinness, you pimple head.
That word that begins with F.
That word will always be hatred in our hearts.
Jimmy Havoc.
He stays in. Stinko.
Madman Fulton.
I know how much you hate this guy. Yes, he stays in.
Nigel McGuinness.
Oh, he's bought a lifetime subscription now, I think.
The one fall chant. Oh, we took that one out, didn't we?
Yeah, we took that one out.
Okay. It didn't update. Okay, that's fine. Okay, Sami Callihan.
Hey, he was the reason we made this thing.
Yeah, we're supposed to cheer for him in MLW. I don't understand
that'll never happen.
The Crest Brothers.
Oh, those idiots will always be in there, too.
And the final entry is Tommy Dreamer.
Tommy Dreamer. I would hang out with cockroaches before I'd hang out with you. You're staying in the book.
I swear, I can't. How does this guy make it to Impact TV every week?
I don't know. He must have, pictures of people in bad, compromising positions that he's, blackmailing them. Because that's all. It could be the only reason you'd have this idiot on your thing. His name value is 0. His wrestling is crap. His look is horrendous. I don't get it. Just don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it either. It's just,
Well, there's our book this week. No changes. We still have a bunch of people in the book.
No changes to the book.
I know we have nothing to put in the vault this week.
No.
Now, before we go, folks, I want to encourage you guys to check out Wrestling POV. Okay, that is our sister show. There we have Mimi Goody, we have Tony Diaz, we have Rick Serrano III, and Lamb Chop or something like that? Lamb Chop the Puppet?
The Fell Puppet,
yeah, the Fell Puppet.
Miguel Cole.
Oh, Miguel Cole. Okay, I was close, Lamb
Miguel
Chop.
Cole.
Together, they have a hilarious romp looking through... They go through WWE Raw, SmackDown, and I believe NXT.
Yeah, those guys are hilarious. So tune into their show every Saturday. They're always fun to listen to.
Now, you can find us on iTunes, iPod. Did I say iPod? iTunes, iHeartRadio.
iTunes, Podbean, iHeartRadio.
I think
Spotify.
I love Spotify. And folks, if you want to write into us, you want to just talk about some of the stuff, maybe show some memories, give a little bit of a global love. This is what I'm going to say. The first person who writes in a letter that's interesting and fun, talking a bit about what we do in Global, or talking about something to do with Global, I will not only read portions of your letter, I'll give you that full credit for that, and I'll read your name out. Elio, tell the good people how to get a hold of us via the Twitter machine and all the interweb stuff you can think of.
Okay, so if you want to get a hold of us, you can do so by going to our Facebook page. That's Wrestling POV Podcast on Facebook, Wrestling POV on Instagram, and Wrestling POV1 on Twitter.
Excellent. And you know what, fans? Just this week, I've decided that if you're in the Greater Toronto area and you want your car washed, Elio will dress in a Speedo, and for $15, he'll soak down your car and he'll rinse it off.
Mistaken.
You'll do it for $15. $15 Canadian. For you Americans, that's like, what, $3 or something like that? That's a hell of a deal. But you know what, fans? We love to... We love to watch a lot of independent wrestling from across the world. We love to hear from you people. We know we've got some fans in some pretty wacky places. All the fans across the continental United States and Canada. We enjoy all the stuff you've been sending and talking. All of our fans in China, Germany, Ireland, England, and of course, could not forget my comrades in Russia. A big privyet out to you, my friends. Just got to say, keep up with Global POV. We've got a lot of stuff going on. We're going to be showing out new interviews coming up. We've got, who knows, like I said, where else can you get a better car wash for $15 Canadian, done by a co-host of POV Global, Elio Speedo, folks. You don't want to miss that. Elio, say goodnight to the good people. Good night, my friends, and we'll see you next week.
Well, talk to y'all next week.